With the release of Minecraft 1.17, bees are more important than ever. Copper looks fantastic, candles are awesome, and the sounds of honey are just... well, never mind. Where was I? Oh right. Beeswax, candles, copper, awesome. Basic tileable bee farms with just a comparator, some redstone and a dispenser are really good for getting some honey resources quick. They certainly help you get up to speed. They have two properties however that I dislike. If for whatever reason something goes wrong with the harvesting, the farm gets stuck until you manually intervene, and due to how dispensers work with honey bottles, they basically always need to be completely full with glass bottles, otherwise they can get stuck. When looking for a more permanent bee setup in my world, I decided to try and address these downsides while still keeping the design simple and mostly tileable. The farm I'm presenting here is the result of that effort, and hopefully this design will help you in your honey-based endeavors. If you find yourself enjoying this video, please leave it a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one, it is much appreciated. But without further ado, let's get into the tutorial. Before we get into the block by block section of the video, let's walk through the workings of the farm design step by step. At the core of the farm is a beehive or a nest, and a dispenser that handles the harvesting. No news there so far. Comparators are used to read both if the hive is full of honey, as well as to check if there is any tools available to do the harvesting. The farm will then only attempt a harvest if both of those conditions are met. And to prevent the farm from getting stuck, instead of just attempting to harvest once, there is a redstone clock installed so that the dispenser will keep trying to harvest while the farm thinks it can. Whenever there is nothing to harvest with, the farm will just patiently wait until that gets refilled and then continue trying. There is a downside to this approach when honey bottles are collected, and that has to do with how dispensers and honey bottles interact. If there is a room to place a honey bottle inside the dispenser, it will be placed there instead of shot out into the world. Due to the random selection of what the dispenser uses when it is triggered, there is a 50-50 chance that that bottle gets ejected during the next harvest. Still, some bottles can get temporarily stuck. I've done some estimations and I believe the limit of that is 16 honey bottles per beehive, but only if you're super unlucky, so it's not a huge amount. Whenever the system will be out of empty glass bottles, those stuck honey bottles will be pulled out automatically as well, so they're never forever stuck, but if you find that a huge problem, you can always opt to keep the dispensers full with glass bottles at all time, just as you would do in the classical design. So with that in mind, let's get into the block by block tutorial. I'll explain how to set up the modules, how to tile them, and then list some extensions you could make to the redstone to complete your farm. Start by placing a beehive somewhere. Make sure you have the front facing in the direction of where your flowers will be so the bees can enter and exit the beehive still. Place a downward facing dispenser on top of the hive, and you'll probably want a hopper to go into that dispenser as well, so place one on top. Place blocks behind the beehive in a key-like shape, like so. Coming out of the dispenser, place a comparator, then behind the block place a repeater and 2 redstone dust stepping down 1 block. On that lower block side, place a redstone torch. In the hole of the key, place a comparator and put it in subtract mode. This comparator reads the honey level of the hive. We're coming back to this one in a little bit. Next, place blocks in a sort of Y shape. There's 2 blocks separate from the rest. Place a redstone dust on top of one and a redstone torch on the side. And on the 5 lower blocks, place a line of redstone. Now place 4 blocks in a zigzag manner. On the blocks below the beehive, place redstone torches, and on the other blocks place 2 4-tick repeaters. The lowest of these repeaters faces into the block with the torch, and the other one faces out of the block with the torch. Hi, post-editing Jeff here, just to tell you that as I was preparing for this video, I realized that the clock can be simplified. You just need to place a redstone torch on the side of this block and it'll functionally be the same. It'll run a bit quicker than before, I think, but that's fine. So yeah, this is a nice way to compact the design a bit further. For the last bit of redstone, place a barrel next to the beehive. Behind this barrel, place a comparator and a redstone dust. This dust should be next to the comparator that you put into subtract mode earlier. Now place 6 stacks of material into the barrel so that the comparator outputs a signal strength of 4. You can press F3 and look at the redstone dust to verify that. You can use any container here, by the way, as long as the output strength is 4, you're good to go. So pick something that looks awesome with the rest of your farm. This redstone is shared with the Beefarm module next to it, making this design 2 blocks wide. So if you want to tile it, just continue repeating this step in either direction really. The last thing you want to do is make sure that the beehive is surrounded by full blocks on all sides except for the front, and this is to make sure that the materials don't get ejected into the redstone. Of course, also make sure that the bees can't escape and that there's a place for your flowers. And that's really it for as far as the farm is concerned, so go ahead and make this as wide as you want. There's more additions you can make, but for the sake of video length I won't give block by block instructions on that, instead I'll go over them quickly. You'll probably want to install some sort of minecart that can run along the top of the dispensers to refill all of them with bottles or shears. There's plenty of room to include a setup like that. You'll also want to run a hopper minecart below the ground in front of your beehives, as that is where all the shiny materials will be dropped. If you're looking for a fast unloading station for minecarts, I have a tutorial on that on the channel as well. I'll link to it below. You can also install some warning lights to indicate whether the dispensers are empty or not by running a redstone line out of these torches all the way in the back. And there's probably a ton more things that I forgot to mention, but this should cover the most important stuff. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, that all the steps are clear, and that with this information you can go out into your Minecraft 1.17 world and cover it completely with beeswax. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this, and leave a comment if you have any questions or remarks. All of these things will be much appreciated. All that's left for me to do here is wish you a great day, and I hope to see you next time.